This is an old poem that I think ought to work well with these. Well, you know the setting. Why don't we start with something here that maybe, give her a little wind. We have recurring themes here. We have these two instruments. Wind, There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that'll make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake LaBarge. I cremated Sam McGee. Now, Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows, and why he left his home in the South to roam around the pole, God only knows. He was always cold. But the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell. And though he'd often say in his homely way that he'd sooner live in hell. We were mushing our way on a Christmas day over the Dawson Trail. Speak of your cold. Through the parka's fold, it stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes were closed and our lashes froze, till sometimes we couldn't see. It wasn't much fun. But the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. That same night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, the dogs were fed, the stars overhead were dancing heel and toe. He turned to me. "Captain," says he, "I'll cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I ask that you won't refuse my last request." They seemed so low that I couldn't say no. And then he says with a sort of moan, "It's the cursed cold. It's got right hold till I'm chilled clean through to the bone. Yet, take being dead. It's my awful dread of the icy grave that pains. I want you to swear, foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains." Hal's last need's a thing to heed, and I swore that I would not fail. We moved on in the streak of dawn, but God, he looked ghastly pale. He crouched in his sleigh, and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee. But before nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death. And I hurried, horror-driven, with corpse half dead I could not rid because of a promise given. He was lashed to the sleigh, and he seemed to say, "You can tax your brawn and brain, but you promised true. Now it's up to you to cremate these last remains." Well, a promise pays a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern code. In the days to come, though my lips were dumb, in my heart how I cursed that load. Every day, that quiet place seemed to heavier and heavier grow. And on I went, though the grub was spit, or the dogs were spit, the grub was getting low, the trail was bad, and I felt half mad, but I swore I would not give in. Sometimes I'd sing to the hateful thing, and it hearkened with a grin. Till I came to the marge of Lake LaBarge, and a derelict there lay. It was jammed in the ice, and I saw on a trice it was called Alice May. I looked at it, and I thought a bit, and then I looked at my frozen chum. And here, said I, with a sudden cry, is my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor, and I lit the boiler fire. Some coal I found that was lying around, and I heaped the fuel higher. The flames soared, the furnace roared, such a blaze you seldom see. Then I burrowed a hole in the glowing coal, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. And then I made for a hike, for I did not like to hear it sizzle so. It was icy cold, but hot sweat rolled down my cheeks. I don't know why. The greasy smoke in an inky cloak went streaking up the sky. I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear, but the stars came out and danced about. Ere again I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, "I'll just take a peep inside." They Guess he's cooked. It's the time I looked. And the door I opened wide. And there sat Sam, looking cool and calm in the heart of the furnace roar. Why, he wore a smile you could see a mile. He said, "Please, close the door." Well, it's fine in here, but I greatly fear you'll let in the cold and storm. Like, since I left Plum Tree down in Tennessee, this is the first time I've been warm. There are strange things done in the midnight sun, how the men who boil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales of make blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake LaBarge. I cremated Sam McGee.